Hi, I'm Milton Glaser, and I'm a designer. We're all designers, in fact.
Por años y años y años era guía para mí y muchos de mis colegas. Como jóvenes entonces, cada vez que salía una publicación de Milton, para nosotros fue una sensación. Y no solo una sensación, sino fue hasta hoy para todos nosotros realmente que somos diseñadores serios, encontrar honestidad realmente en Milton Glaser, lo que él ofreció al mundo, lo que él ofreció a nivel internacional con soluciones creativas que nos dejó realmente sin palabras.
¿Qué decirles de un hombre que con un logotipo hizo amar toda una ciudad? Sus trabajos icónicos y universales lo han transformado desde hace un largo tiempo en uno de los diseñadores más influyentes de la historia.
I was going to work and I had a little piece of paper and pencil and I did this most obvious thing in the world, I Heart New York.
Creo que una de las cosas que encuentro más interesantes es la forma, ¿no?, que tuvo de entender el proceso creativo, la reivindicación que hizo del dibujo, de ese boceto que se hace rápido sobre cualquier soporte que se tenga a mano para no dejar escapar una idea.
Yo espero que cada vez que tomen un lápiz se sientan inspirados por este enorme corazón rojo que lo inmortalizó y que recuerde siempre que el maestro no dejaba de aprender y conectar las vidas de la gente con algo tan simple e increíble como un lápiz.
I Heart, there are probably a million equivalents to the I Heart New York. And it probably could have been done a million other ways. But there was something of that particular form or configuration of the relationship of the voluptuousness of the red part to the stringency of the black part. Whatever it was, it triggered something neurologically in the brain and became an object of affection and durability. I mean, I did that in 1977.
Just on the subject of the I Love New York, which is for me much more than a logo. If someone is able to create a new archetype, a new language, creating that kind of language that Milton created was groundbreaking also for the design profession. Milton had a prolific work in many areas and has done many works that like nobody knows. It's somehow unfortunate that people actually don't realize that he's done many things.
Exploró muchas áreas de la gráfica. Desde los pictogramas, creó tipografías experimentales, estuvo incursionando en el diseño editorial y su gran obra en cuanto a las portadas de discos y las imágenes corporativas de empresas.
Design is a big, almost endless activity, and to choose a particular piece of it seems small-minded.
His vision impacted all of us culturally and visually and raised us to another new level of understanding of art and design. To me, his works, his poster are just phenomenal. It is amazing to see his designs that are incredibly influential and are a part of human heritage, our heritage.
No existen palabras para hablar de este gran genio del diseño, quien dedicó su vida plena a enriquecer el mundo con su magnífica obra.
I like the idea of my work being seen and experienced by others. It's very important for me.
Estas obras donde se caracteriza el manejo de la ilustración, del color, del diseño, del simbolismo.
The images that are stuck in my visual memory. This one, playful but classic and witty. A big, beautiful nude to go beyond the boundaries of the poster. And then Milton Glaser's sketchbooks that remind me to draw every day.
You know, most or a lot of people in the design world are attracted through the realm of art. I mean, the first thing they know is that they like to draw as a kid. And they make little pictures, and then by the time they're 12, they're making comic strip. And then you begin to draw, and then you discover that there's a way that you can draw that doesn't look like the comics, and then you go on to find there's this other world of color and shape and form and typography, and before you know it, you're a designer and so on.
To me, Milton Glaser was a big inspiration in the way he made his art, his graphic design, and his way of using colors.
I think one function that we have collectively is to make people aware of what is real. In fact, perhaps that's the highest function of anyone involved in the arts, to arouse people's interest sufficiently so they see what is real, or in fact, they see what is in front of them.
Sobre todas las cosas nos ha dejado su manera de concebir el diseño, demostrando que el diseñador, por medio de su trabajo, es responsable de lo que su trabajo causa en la vida de la ciudad. El diseño tiene efecto en la vida a nuestro alrededor, es transformador y aporta significado para los demás.
No se daba por satisfecho con las definiciones que generalmente se consideran indiscutibles. Cuando crees en algo ciegamente, dejas de pensar en soluciones alternativas. Esto nos hace replantear las ideas, los conceptos, lo que vemos y siempre nos hace ir a más.
Just making things is one of the greatest pleasures that the human species has discovered.
Fue el trabajo 132 de 136. Milton Glaser nos regalaba las siguientes palabras. Congratulations. Simplemente eso fue estampado en este Chile, lo que nos regaló a finales del 2005 para formar parte del proyecto Demo. Un proyecto que significó mucho para quienes participamos, para quienes lo creamos, para quienes estuvimos detrás de él.
Realmente es una persona a la cual no vamos a poder olvidar fácilmente porque nos ha dejado un gran legado, nos ha dejado una lección sobre el diseño y realmente cuán importante es el mensaje.
My deepest interest and the thing that gives me the most delight, is the sense that everything is connected, that there are no unrelated events, that everything, if you look for it, is connected to everything else, no matter how strange and random those connections are.
Karena kalau dilihat dari keharmonisannya, desain poster yang begitu organik dengan typeface yang dipakai desain poster yang begitu geometrik, sepertinya agak bertabrakan. Apakah karena kebesaran nama Milton Glaser itu, sehingga semua yang dibikin oleh Milton Glaser adalah sempurna.
Hace unos años estaba volviendo de dar clases en la universidad, estaba en el transporte público y chequeando emails me encuentro que había recibido un email de Milton Glaser. Lo primero que pensé fue que eran mis amigos haciéndome una broma, pero después cuando me puse a mirar era cierto, estaba siendo invitado al libro The Design of Dissent, que se convirtió en uno de los más grandes honores que yo viví como profesional, esa invitación, estar en esas páginas, tal vez sea ese abrazo que hubiera querido darle porque lamentablemente no tuve la suerte de conocerlo en persona.
It was exhilarating to think that you could make things that look good and that people would respond to them.
Su obra me influyó muchísimo porque defiendo 100% su estilo, su manera de hacer, y creo que nos ayudó a todos los diseñadores a entender lo que es el diseño ahora mismo, y ayudó él y su generación a crear unas bases y profesionalizar el diseño, que creo que era muy necesario en esa época.
Unfortunately, I was never able to meet Milton Glaser in person, but he was always a big inspiration for me as a graphic designer, from the moment I was a student and throughout my career.
Además de ser uno de los mejores diseñadores del mundo, fue docente por décadas, lo cual me une también con él, aprender continuamente y el gusto de formar nuevas generaciones de diseñadores.
Milton has been the most exemplary design icon to me and many in my generation. He was my primary inspiration until his passing, and still is.
I had the incredible pleasure to be able to come to Milton's workshop at the School of Visual Arts in New York every year and present some work. And when I later on met some of the students from this workshop, they all individually said that it changed their lives. And when I asked Milton about this later on at a lunch, he said that he actually thought that the design of this workshop was better than any of the hundreds of posters he designed, better than the foundation of New York Magazine, better than the I Love New York logo.
3 quotes that are very close to my heart. 1, the desire to make things, transform them to feel alive and come every day in the studio. 2, drawing is thinking. Drawing is a way of understanding the world, its reality. 3, I hate the word creative. I prefer hard work, craft, ability.
I felt connected to Milton's theory that drawing is thinking. I've always considered myself an artist who happens to be working as a designer. And I think Milton probably felt the same way.
It's a question of your willingness to see what's in front of you.
40 years ago, I traveled to New York to attend Milton Glaser's legendary class, Design and Personality, at the School of Visual Arts. He taught the same class for decades, and for the ensuing decades, his wisdom has resonated in my professional life.
I had the pleasure to meet him in 1999 when I was a student on second year. Our school was doing a study trip to New York City, and we went to his studio, and we were all sitting on the floor, and Milton was telling about his life and his work, the things he was doing.
Here are a few things I've learned from Milton Glaser. What is art? What is an idea? Where do ideas live? What is work? Who to work for? Who not to work for? How to see? What to look at? How to think? And here are a few things I did not learn from Milton. How to draw, how to paint, how to make anything. It wasn't about that.
I never forget his way of being kind, and even though we were students, he took his time to talk with us. And I think that's always a thing that I try to take with me when I'm teaching myself or when I'm traveling around. That you always be kind to people and take your time to talk with especially students.
On the plane back to Dallas, I realized that I had left all the work that I had done in class in the classroom. And for a moment, I panicked. Then I did what Milton had taught us. I thought about it. Then I relaxed, because it wasn't about the work.
Y es que no me imagino a Milton Glaser sin la academia y a la academia sin Milton Glaser.
es ese referente que nunca puede faltar. Esa relación apasionada de un hombre por compartir generosamente todo su conocimiento y dejar sin aliento a todas las personas que le escuchan. Muchas gracias por dejarnos esa pasión por compartir el conocimiento con humildad.
In teaching, as you know, I'm moving more to teaching collectively, teaching people to work together on things.
Milton decía de una manera u otra que todos los trabajos son colaborativos y que no hay nada más placentero que trabajar en equipo y formar parte de un esfuerzo colectivo. Y bueno, acá nos ven de alguna manera influenciados por este pensamiento en tiempos donde interrelacionarnos es cada vez más complicado.
Nos ha transmitido la importancia de trabajar en grupo y formar parte de un esfuerzo colectivo, asegurando que los trabajos son colaborativos en un nivel u otro. Y nos ha dicho, el gran problema que tenemos todos son los prejuicios y pensar que lo sabemos todo.
But one has to approach it with some degree of humility. You can't feel, above all, you can't feel you know everything and you have all the answers. What we really need are most people working together to create a better situation for all of them.
The thing that I admired the most about Milton was that despite his amazing success, he was able to stay so humble and down to earth. His passing is a big loss for the world of design, but he lives on not only in his work, but in every designer he touched, even if, like me, he never met them in person.
And I would say that Milton Glaser helped us become better human beings who are of the people, by the people, for the people. We are where we are now in no small part because of him.
Hablar de Milton Glaser es hablar de trascendencia, de excelencia, de compromiso social y de legado. Una persona muy sensible. Descubrió que los mejores diseños nacen de una relación de afecto con el cliente.
The desire to make things is a profound and lifetime commitment. You find that it's the most important thing in your life, that there's nothing that makes you feel more alive, more human. One thing that making things gives you is it gives you a sense of being alive, and it provides the fundamental answer to the question, why am I here?
Es de las pocas personas que empezó a diseñar con sentido, ¿no? Creo para mí el diseño con alma, y es lo más importante que nos ha dejado.
There are too many things to love in this world to isolate your interest in a single one of them.
I knew Milton really only through his business partnership with Walter Bernard. And I was in their office one day in 1993, at a time when I was unsure what my next move was going to be after Time magazine. I told Milton about a job offer that I'd had, and he listened and very simply said, "Don't do it. That's not for you." It was the best piece of advice I could possibly have had.
Milton Glaser and I were partners for 20 years. Now, partners can be tricky. Moving over partnerships very often are jealousy and distrust. Milton and I avoided this, for which I am grateful. Milton was a giant in stature, in talent, and knowledge in what he wanted to do. I was a scared, shy puppy, too nervous even to meet with clients. Milton lifted me up, overlooked my shortcomings, and gave me the confidence to see my own work. Our collaborations with assignments and with our own projects were productive and fair. Not only that, at one time, he defended me from a mugger on Park Avenue South. Can one ask for more than that from a partner?
A few years ago, I had the opportunity to have a visit to 5 Pura della Francescas in a small room, and I invited Milton to join us. And we had a conversation with these paintings. Milton had done a little booklet with some of his paintings, having conversation with 2 of the great Pura della Francescas. And when I did a book on understanding, I used them, and it's the best chapter in the whole book called Understanding Understanding.
In the presence of art, we are transformed, that we feel differently. And I think that goes for the maker and for the user, that you know that if you're standing in front of a Pura della Francesca, when you leave, you're no longer the same.
What can you say about 91 years of a man's life? Milton Glaser. It's about all I can say is Milton Glaser, Milton Glaser, Milton Glaser, Milton Glaser. The name speaks for itself.
So he was such a nice man, and I think he did big contribution to this world, and yes, he will be missed.
For me, that is the key to being a great designer, is that you need to be a great human being. And Milton Glaser is the prime example of those 2 things.
Un diseñador comprometido con la humanidad y con el movimiento social, queriendo siempre cambiar la conciencia humana.
So he truly was a fantastic human being and also a pretty damn good designer.
Muchas gracias, Milton, por ser parte de esto, por ser parte de nuestros recuerdos. Un abrazo fraterno, estés donde estés.
And we will always remember you, Milton.
I feel so fortunate to have had the opportunity to know him and become friends with him, enjoy lunches together, and present to his students at SVA. Milton, you will live on in my memory, and your work will live on for generations to come.
Milton Glaser es considerado como uno de los diseñadores gráficos más importantes y su legado es invaluable en la historia del diseño gráfico mundial.
Fue para mí un suceso de haber vivido su obra a través de mis años.
Milton was the best. He was the most thoughtful. He was certainly the smartest and the most caring. And I miss him. I miss him. And the world misses a great man.
Nos vemos pronto, Milton.
We definitely all loved him.
Thank you, Milton. And sleep well.
The man, the artist, the social conscience of a profession, a creative genius, a talent with unbelievable dimension, and a humanist, all rolled up into one, living a long life of 91 years. I'll miss him. I'll miss his good humor. I'll miss his conscience. And I'll miss everything about him. May he rest in peace.
Thanks for being here with me.